Please welcome our first inductee today, Dr. Ford Baldwin.
Wow. You know, most of you, if you know me very well, you know I can't really talk much about myself, so I'm not going to try. I'm going to talk more about people just a few of the people that really made this thing happen. Rex has already mentioned my dad. I kind of came by love for agriculture naturally, and went to the University of Arkansas, kind of drifted through, had a real good time. And not knowing what I was going to do, and I took a course in weed science under Bob Franz, and it just kind of captivated me, and I got a chance to get my master's under him. And at the time, there weren't any jobs, and so there were actually 2 assistantships in the whole country to go to graduate school, and one of them was at Oklahoma State, and I went. I'd also applied to med school, though, and never dreamed I'd get accepted. And at the end of the first year at OSU, I got an acceptance letter for med school at the University of Arkansas. And my brain told me to go to med school, but my heart said all you've ever wanted to do was work with farmers. Never met a farmer I didn't like. Never met a farmer I didn't enjoy being around. So about another year's going by, and there still weren't any jobs, and I'm thinking, what was I thinking? And my major professor, Paul Sandelman, walked in, and he said, how much do you like being through? And I said, I really like another year on my research. I'm through with my coursework. And he said, well, the extension job at Arkansas just came open, and it's tailor-made for you. We need to get that job for you. Just write up what you have. Not a lot of professors would have done that. That opened the big door right there. But anyway, got the job. He got it for me. And I don't know, my first or second day on the job, Dr. Leon Holly, my boss, called me in, and he said, now let me tell you what your job is. He said, your job is to take University of Arkansas and USDA research and develop that into farmer-friendly materials to go out through our county extension system. And I thought, hey, I got Bob Franz, Roy Smith, Dick Oliver, Ron Talbert, best 4 weed scientists in the country. You know, if I mess that up, I need to be fired. And also, he said the second thing is you are to take research back to that we don't have, or take farmer problems we don't have answers for, back to our researchers. And I think I can do that. And he said, okay, now go get a haircut. And he said, pick John Langston up and take him with you. And I was trying to escape and get out the door, and he said, by the way, he said, I want the cuckleburs out of the soybeans on Highway 67. I never knew what Highway 67 had to do with anything, but because the whole state was eat up. But I knew that Oliver and Bill Barrington at Mississippi had just come up with some groundbreaking competition research. I knew Bassagran was coming, and I knew I had Oliver in my hip pocket. So I said I can do this, and so anyway, let me see where I am. And I don't do this kind of thing very well. So out of that came our kind of a program we put together called the War on Cucklebur program. Got a lot of recognition for it, but the centerpiece of that program was a leaflet, and it was actually Bobby Huey, our rice specialist's idea. Best extension specialist I ever knew. But I was surrounded with good people, and Bobby said, if I was a farmer, I would want to be able to give you a situation and describe you a situation, and you tell me what my best options were. And that was a little different than anything that had been done back then, but we did it. And we had a bunch of county agents that were kind of crusty and sort of liked initiating and checking in every new extension specialist that came along. But I figured those guys out real quick that if you gave them stuff that could make them look good to their farmers, that they would carry a program for you. And that's exactly what happened. And we were covered up with cutting edge technology. I was very lucky, but we also had farmers that were looking for cutting edge technology. So really this award's about farmers. I mean, that's what it's all about. But it may surprise you coming from me, but I also had some excellent administrators through the years. And Reuben Johnson's here, best I ever had, a guy that knew how to kick roadblocks out of the way. He got me out of more jams than I care to remember. And then along about in the 1980s, extension specialists didn't do research when I first started, but along about 1980, somewhere we got mandated to do applied research, and I thought, well, if I could just put some lines in the water with companies and get enough money to buy me a backpack sprayer and hire me one summer helper, I think I'll do it. And so the money was pretty easy to get, and the department at Fayetteville was touting a kid that could walk on water, so to speak, for me to hire for my summer helper. And Reuben said, I'm going to Fayetteville this week. Said, this sounds too good to be true. Let me check this kid out. And he comes back home and he told me, he said, I rejected him, but I got you another one. Said, I think you'll like him. And it was Blair Griffin. And he said, and by the way, I got you a truck too. 1958 whitewashed government surplus pickup that he had pilfered out of the Animal Science Department. And if you know anything about the Animal Science Department, when they got through with something, there wasn't much left in it. And anyway, shortly after, Blair calls me and he says, I need you to come down to Exxon Station on Broadway in North Little Rock and get me. He said, the truck's quit. He said, I think I'm in trouble. He said, I was quit in the middle of the busiest intersection down there. Said, this guy runs up, pulls right up to my door, lays down on the horn. Said, I flipped him off. And he said, while I was pushing the truck out of the road, he wrote down the state tag number. So you're probably going to get a phone call. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll tell Reuben. And maybe the guy will call and we'll get a new state truck out of the deal. But I never dreamed that start right there would turn into the applied research program that we wound up with. I mean, we had facilities to kill for, money to kill for, equipment to kill for, people to kill for, and it was just kind of like fancy farming. I mean, I could level land and put down wells and underground pipe and buy combines and tractors and trucks all on somebody else's money, and that's not a bad gig. But you know, I honestly don't know whether I led the program or chased it, but had so many people open so many doors. I mean, Reuben again got that facility built for us at Lone Oak. Mr. Tommy Hillman opened a door for me to do rice research that at that time of the year, nobody else in the country could have opened for me. The people at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff that had the land over there for us to work on. I mean, you can just go on and on. But the fork in the road came in 2002 when I retired and went into the private sector, and I was struggling. How can I make a living in the private sector and still keep an unbiased approach to doing things? Because that's all I'd ever done. And I went to see Dick Bell. I asked just mainly to ask him for advice, and I don't know how, but I left with a consulting contract with Riceland Foods to work with farmers that I still have today. And I think Terry Richardson's here. He was another one of the best bosses that I ever had, and I'll forever be grateful to that. Great group of people. But I've been blessed to work with a lot of other companies in the private sector that have given me a lot of freedom, and always be thankful for the phone call that I got from Bill McNamee in 1974 to write for Delta Farm Press. Absolutely scared me to death. I said, there's no way I can think of something to write about every week, and I'm sure some of the articles reflected that. But John Boyd, when Reuben created a position to split responsibilities and hired John Boyd to come split responsibilities with me, that took the program to another level, and I don't know any other two scientists in the country that could pool all of the grant money into one pot and never have a cross word about it. So somebody asked me recently what my high point in my career was, what I was most proud of, and it would be the young weed scientists that we have in our program now that have taken the weed science program onward and upward. They've been through a lot of adversity. And they've got to learn, they've been able to learn what Bobby Huey taught me early on, is storms will come, and when the storms come, you stand on good solid research data, and that'll take you a long way. So anyway, we have a relatively small family. A lot of them are here, and, you know, they made some sacrifices, but I was lucky in my job to get to take my kids a lot of places, both here and abroad, and be able to teach them that if you smile at people, they'll smile back at you. Just one word to the 4-H and FFA kids that are here. I hope you'll continue a career in agriculture. You know, my generation and the generation before me, we made all the easy breakthroughs. Breakthroughs are not coming so easy now, and we need some of the very brightest minds we have in agriculture. So then the hard part is just how to try to think for people, from me being up here with this great group, that's probably where I'll fall apart. You know, just Rick Cartwright, and the people that nominated me, the committee. I mean, like Butch said, we go back an awful long way, and it's just an honor I'll always cherish. I can't put it in the right words. And then the last thing is, Mama, I didn't wear my overalls. But I do have them in the truck. Thank y'all, and God bless everybody.